from the biggest to the most destructive, they were the winter storms that crippled a city. Join us as we look back at some of the worst winter storms to ever hit New York City. Our first storm happened in 1888 that is, known as the Great Blizzard of '88 or the Great White Hurricane. It's one of the most severe blizzards in American history. It dumped 2 to 4 feet of snow around the New York City area.
And today is the 100th anniversary of one of the worst blizzards ever, the blizzard of 1888. And Glad, does today's compare at all with the one way back then?
Well, today they had a blizzard that had 10 to 15 foot drifts. The one 100 years ago made this one look tame. Now, the forecast 100 years ago last night read rain, then windy and colder. Boy, were they wrong. They ended up with the stuff books are made of, the worst blizzard in this city's history. The blizzard was commemorated today at a conference hosted by my colleague Nick Gregory. David Ludlam, the nation's premier weather historian, was there.
And there's never been a combination of the 3 elements of a blizzard: severe cold, high winds, and drifting snow that have all occurred in the same 24 hours.
So this hasn't been exaggerated over the 100 years since then?
Well, I don't think so.
The storm dumped 2 to 4 feet of snow on the area. Hurricane-force winds and temperatures dropping to 5 degrees produced snow drifts of 20 feet. More than 400 people were killed and hundreds of ships were sunk. What do you think would happen today if we had a repeat of that storm?
Well, a 5-letter word: chaos, I think, because there's so much more depends on transportation. It's hard to predict the big ones.
Amen. And in my talk today, I talked about that. Although meteorology has come a long way in 100 years, the unusual nature of this blizzard makes it virtually unpredictable, even today.
In 1978, New York was hit with another killer storm, the blizzard of '78.
The snow, the sleet, the pellets of ice that cut into faces as they were propelled by blizzard winds were obstacles that proved almost too much for the city that never shuts down. The pulse of Manhattan never stopped, but it slowed to an irregular beat. The normal frenzy of the morning rush hour was replaced by an eerie calm, the noise of what little traffic there was muffled by drifts of snow up to 3 feet deep. At 9 this morning, some of the hardier souls took up Mother Nature's challenge and headed for their destinations, but most took a more sensible approach to the day and remained indoors. For those who went out, trouble was waiting. Some random examples: the Long Island Expressway was closed, but not before hundreds of motorists had been stranded in the snow. Power was shut off on all 4 Conrail tracks underneath Park Avenue between Grand Central Station and 96th Street. Passengers on 6 trains had to be evacuated to the street by emergency stairs leading out of the tunnel. Schools were closed, as were many businesses. Gale-force winds whipped signs off of buildings near Columbus Circle. The Gulf and Western Building, usually open 24 hours a day, was closed. The 2 major stock exchanges managed to get off to a shaky tentative start, but not until noon. Rescue buses were put into operation by the Transit Authority to pick up stranded motorists. Even some of the major military installations in the metropolitan area were virtually inoperative today, civilians and soldiers unable to get to their posts. Fender benders and spinning wheels were the order of the day, and for a time the pedestrians took over the streets. The cars were stuck, but the roads had been plowed enough to allow a person to walk without snowshoes. Most sidewalks were impassable unless you happened to be a cross-country skier. There was no relief from the snow. It just kept coming, and there was nothing to do about it but to stay home and wait for it to stop. And so for those New Yorkers who dared to venture from their homes this morning, it was just another exercise in frustration. But there were some rewards out here for those of us who came to brave the great outdoors. One was a sense of history, knowing that in about 20 years we'll be telling great stories about the blizzard of 1978 and how we were there. Christopher Jones, Channel 5 News, in the great blizzard of '78 in Manhattan.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Friday, January 20th, 1978, a day many of us will not soon forget. It was the day of the big blizzard or near blizzard, one of the 3 worst storms in the past 30 years, and there is no denying that the biggest city in the country was very badly crippled, and we'll be spending a good part of the next hour telling you how badly. Millions of people in the metropolitan area stayed indoors, hundreds of thousands could not get to work, and that fact affected our own news and television operation today. We have some people operating our cameras and our equipment who have seldom done it before. So please wish us a lot of luck as they do their very best under very rough conditions. We can't help recalling that the New York metropolitan area has not had a storm this bad in 9 years, and the blizzard of February 9th and 10th of 1969 was a killer storm, dumping 15 inches of snow on us, keeping 3/4 of the workforce home, and stranding thousands of travelers at Kennedy Airport. Thousands of cars were abandoned in snowdrifts along the roads. This is a killer storm, too, already. Here in the city and in surrounding states, none of the weather experts called it correctly, not even ours. Tex?
Well, Bill, our weather egg hatched as anticipated, but surprise, it turned out to be twins. That's right, a double low. And not only that, the mother hen is sitting back here. And I'll tell you, friends, this family group has a proposition out we can't refuse. That's for sure. We'll try to explain it just a little bit better later in the program. Thank you.
With 13 inches of snow on the ground and drifts deep enough to maroon a high-stepping giraffe, even some of our desperately needed snowplows got stuck today. But most of our major roads are now open, although very treacherous in some spots. Many side streets are socked in totally. Mayor Koch asked the state for help, but the governor ordered some of the National Guard into action with 50 pieces of equipment in action. All 3 of our metropolitan airports were totally shut down today, and they're not likely to open tonight. We'll cover that story later in more detail. Bus service was badly crippled during the day, with only about half of the city buses in operation, but they now tell us they're running pretty well. If you can find your car under a drift, it might be best to know that alternate side parking rules are not in effect tomorrow, but all other parking regulations will stand up. On the railroads, all Conrail trains are now running, but with delays of up to 1 hour. But on the Long Island, there's a limited service on Flatbush Avenue, Woodside, and Jamaica branches. No service out of Hunters Point or Penn Station. And the Port Authority tells us 20 of the 42 lines at its Midtown terminal are now out of service. All buses are running from the George Washington Bridge Terminal, but there are delays. In the subways, the SS Franklin shuttle is closed down. The GG ends at Bergen Street. The IND A train is not operating south of Rockaway Boulevard. The Sea Beach line was closed from Kings Highway to Stillwell Avenue, and the F train into Manhattan is express only from 4th Avenue to Bergen Street. And for folks in real trouble, the Red Cross has set up an emergency weather center at the High School of Art and Design on 2nd Avenue at 57th Street. In Westchester County, all parkways are now plowed and passable, but roads are slippery and unnecessary travel is not advised. North of New York City in Westchester County, the schools and businesses were closed down as they were here in the city itself. Traffic was snarled as the heavy snow wiped out that area. Most of the commuters that tried to make it into the city decided to turn back or were stopped dead in their tracks or never even started. On Long Island, it was the same story, and Marvin Scott was out there.
Eastern Long Island appeared to bear the brunt of the storm, getting as much as 17 inches of snow with drifts of up to 3 feet piled up next to homes. Not only was it impossible to drive, but the blowing snow also made it virtually impossible to walk. Conditions got so bad that Governor Carey ordered the mobilization of several Army and Air National Guard units to help the Long Island Lighting Company restore power to some 13,000 homes. Officials say there were at least 4 weather-related deaths, heart attacks, apparently brought on by exertion while trying to cope with the storm. Hundreds of cars were abandoned after they became stuck in the snow. Nassau County Police rescued some 400 people in stranded cars, while Suffolk County Police came to the rescue of at least 50 other motorists. The storm hit just as Long Island was trying to recover from the ice storm last weekend that left thousands of homes and businesses without electricity or telephone service. Police in Nassau and Suffolk counties used snowmobiles for emergencies. One was sent to Syosset to get a hospital chef to work so patients could be fed. The Long Island Railroad, the nation's largest commuter line, was shut down temporarily by the storm but restored service on a limited basis later in the day. Bus service had to be stopped because so many roads were impassable. Here are the conditions at this hour. In Nassau County, very slippery road conditions are reported with drifting snow. Police say the best advice, stay off the roads. In Nassau, the Long Island Expressway and the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressways are closed. The LIE is also closed in Suffolk County, where similar slippery conditions are reported.
There's a first time for everything, and New York City found that out when it was hit with its very first April blizzard.
The predictions of a blizzard didn't stop some people from trying to get to work in Midtown. By noon, there was enough wind and snow to officially make it a blizzard. And then the problem was getting home. Mary Amoroso has that story.
Commuters have obviously had their fill of winter, and today they took elaborate precautions to avoid its inevitable delays. Rush hour started early this afternoon and continued for at least 4 hours. What time did you leave work?
2:30.
You expected a crush?
Kinda, yeah. And I missed a train because I thought it was broken down in the track. And it wasn't. It was my train, and I missed it.
What time did you leave work?
4 o'clock.
What was going through your head? Or did your boss say, okay, you guys can clear out?
Yeah, he gave us a break today.
But it wasn't the great tangled mass of humanity and machinery that it can be on bad weather days.
No delays at all. We had extra trains on around 1:30, 2 o'clock. At the moment, we're running right on time.
At Penn Station, delays on the Long Island Railroad, Amtrak, and Conrail were minimal. The LIRR said its only problem early on was a power outage on the Great Neck line. People could mostly look forward to getting home early and perhaps spending some time before a roaring out-of-season fire, before they have to face tomorrow's mess. The only major tie-up today was on the Williamsburg Bridge. A tractor-trailer overturned there around 12:30 and paralyzed traffic for hours. And LaGuardia, Kennedy, and Newark airports all shut down this afternoon, stranding thousands of travelers. All in all, Manhattan seemed a little like a ghost town today. The streets were relatively empty. A lot of people apparently just stayed home. And a lot of those who were out in the mess wished they were someplace else. Where did you come in from, sir?
Florida.
What was the temperature there when you left?
About 82.
Mary Amoroso, Channel 5 News.
And as you shoveled out from under all the snow, you may have asked yourself why. We put that question to Linda Gialinella, and she talked it over with the experts.
It's been said that April showers bring May flowers. If that's true, then what do April blizzards bring? Besides heavy snow and gusty winds, a lot of confusion. There's never been a blizzard in April. How do we explain it?
It's an unusually cold air mass out there in the Midwest. That air, of course, it started up in Canada. It set up there in Canada and perked for an unusually long time, cooled off. And when it came down, it ran into the normally warm air, and away it went.
And now it seems as if the whole weather calendar is out of sync.
If you'll remember, we didn't even have a white Christmas. It was 40 degrees on December 25th. Well, with these cold temperatures, it will take a while for the snow to melt, and it looks like we may be dreaming of a white Easter.
It's never happened in the past. Why now?
My answer to that is, why not now? Okay, today would have been opening day for the Yankees at home. When we think of baseball, we think of records. New records are broken every year. It's the same in weather. New records are broken every year. Today we broke a big one.
In 1996, the city was struck with a severe nor'easter that dropped over 20 inches of snow.
As I'm sure you know by now, they are calling it one of the most powerful blizzards to hit the New York area this century. The governors of New York and New Jersey both have declared limited states of emergency. All three of the area's airports are closed. For the first time in 18 years, weather has forced the closing of schools in New York City. All but a handful of suburban schools are closed as well. As of 4 o'clock this morning, about 22 inches of snow had fallen at LaGuardia Airport. The National Weather Service expects about 30 inches to be on the ground by midday. And that would beat the record snowfall for New York. That is 26.4 inches, set way back in 1947. National Guard armories and Catholic churches are available as shelters. Snowplows and salt spreaders are out, but as of right now, they're fighting a losing battle with the relentless snowfall. Snow is also piling up in front of the city's commercial buildings, which are in the middle of a strike by maintenance workers. Railroads are running on modified schedules, and drifting snow is causing delays on all trains. And there are also delays on elevated portions of the city subway system. The Coast Guard has ordered a halt to all shipping operations in New York Harbor. Last night, the Knicks and Nets both had to cancel their games. In short, it is one major mess. Stay home if you can. The The one positive note is that so far no deaths have been attributed to the weather. Well, Dick Oliver has made his way across town over to the sanitation facility there. Is there any salt left over there, Ollie?
Jim, the salt is here. The problem is the accumulations of snow have been so heavy that they quit the salting and they're simply plowing now, some 1,520 plows. You can see them going by here down West Street, just off of the Henry Hudson Parkway. This emergency, of course, brings out the best in all of us, and the best part of us, the American Red Cross. Robert Wingate joins us to tell us about the Red Cross's activities overnight. Bob.
Well, good morning. And you're right, this may be the blizzard of '96, but this is also the city that never sleeps. And the Red Cross has literally hundreds of volunteers who've come out last night and this morning to help staff shelters throughout New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Right now, the Red Cross is operating a total of 25 snow shelters, 10 of them in New York City, and the rest of them along Long Island Sound, in Westchester, Connecticut, and up and down the New Jersey shore. Right now we're waiting for the tides to come in to get a sense of how much flooding there's going to be and to see how many people need to be evacuated or relocated from their homes.
What kind of health and safety tips can you give our viewers?
Well, we recommend that unless you have to go outside, unless you absolutely have to go outside, don't go out, don't drive. But if you do have to go out, dress properly. Wear a hat, dress in a lot of layers of clothing, and make sure that you're wearing something to protect you against wet weather, because you can get wet quickly out here. Also, if you're going to be shoveling snow, the Red Cross recommends that you take it very, very slowly. Just take a little bit at a time.
Go, Lisa! This is her car. We're just volunteering. Her fault. Her fault.
Lisa, is your name Lisa?
This is her car.
Lisa, tell me about that. It's her car.
This is Lisa Dawn's car. Lisa Dawn! She heard about the storm, and she parked on a storm's free zone, but she didn't use the garage. Not alternate Next time, Lisa Dawn, the garage. You hear about a snowstorm in the garage.
In the garage.
Your friends are saying you were a little cheap. I mean, and look what happened.
I know. But look, we're having a good time. We're out here together. We don't have to go to work today. And I'm going to treat them to dinner. Don't quote me on that. Yes.
I heard it. The $15 would have cost her for the garage?
Yes.
She's going to spend $50 now for dinner.
Oh, hello. We like that. She better prime rib. Thank you very much. Hello.
Shovel.
Get that right. It's all her fault.
It's hard work.
Oh yeah, of course. But it's fun. It beats going to the gym.
It's not backbreaking?
Well, that it is.
How
But
is
we're
this
only
though?
going to do it once for this car, and that is it's hard. Soft on the tart. It looks soft, but it's really hard.
How long have you been doing this for?
Oh boy. How long? 2 hours?
You
2 hours.
say you're...
We're going to push it right through this hole, and that's the end of that.
Right.
And then I'm going to put it in the garage.
Garage.
I can't get home tonight.
10 years later, in 2006, New York City found itself breaking a snowfall record.
Good evening, I'm Rosanna Scotto.
And I'm Ernie Anastas. Here's what's happening.
The blizzard of '06 will go down in the history books as the biggest storm to hit New York.
And for most of us, after a weekend of staying indoors, today, well, it was time to dig out and get back to work.
But there's one group of people that's been working really hard since the snow began to fall. Fox 5's Linda Schmidt has more on how city crews are cleaning up the snow. Linda, how's it looking?
I tell you what, Rosanna, it's looking fantastic. The Department of Sanitation has done a spectacular job for this huge blizzard. I mean, they had one huge undertaking. Now, the city's got more than 6,000 roads actually to plow, and if you take a look behind me right here, this very loud machine is a big, big help in this cleanup effort. Not only is it getting rid of all this snow that you see right here, but it's helping to get rid of snow from all around the city. This is the powerful weapon in the city's arsenal to help battle the snow. It's a machine that melts the snow for easy disposal. Now, it's one of the reasons the city's streets were cleared so quickly.
The city's 20 snow melters are working. They can melt 60 tons of snow an hour. 3 melters were working last night in Lower Manhattan alone, for example.
Sanitation workers plow the city's roads, load up with snow, and then they feed the snow into these machines, which melts it. That melted snow then goes into the city's main sewer line.
Years ago, we used to have to dump in the river, and we've come a long way, and we have this new technology, and it works really well.
Most of the streets in Midtown are clear sailing. On the Lower East Side, they're pretty much passable. And in Brooklyn Heights, well, things look pretty good there, too.
I was pretty amazed how clear the streets were this morning.
I think they did a good job, better than what they did before. I mean, I think they could have moved a little faster.
I think they did a great job.
All right, now the sanitation department is telling us tonight it used between 50 and 60,000 tons of salt to deal with this storm. During the peak of the storm, they had 2,000 pieces of snow removal equipment that were being used, and you might even remember this because we say this pretty much a lot throughout the winter, especially when we have a lot of storms. It costs $1 million an inch to get rid of that snow. So we had more than 26 inches. That's a lot of money to spend on just one storm. And one last piece of information for you tonight. If you haven't had a chance to dig out your car yet, you're going to have more time to do that tomorrow. The city has suspended for tomorrow alternate side of the street parking. I know that's a lot, Rosanna, but you got it?
I got it all. Thank you, Linda. And digging out was no easy task, but in Astoria, Queens, we found a lot of people helping one another. Some people needed a hand clearing snow from their cars and shoveling. Sometimes an occasional push was needed to get a car out of a snowdrift and back on the road. One of the hardest jobs belonged to anyone who had to stand outside. Ed Jackson makes deliveries rain or shine, and he was splashed all day long.
Well, I got 3 pairs of socks on, so my boots are big, so I'm all right. You know, try not to get aggravated, so I keep laughing and humor with these people.
Good going, Ed. Another tough task, pushing a baby carriage. Navigating street corners took some planning.
I
and
know, I
some
like
arm strength,
Yeah,
too.
Ed Jackson, I like his attitude. You know what I mean? He's
You gotta
cool.
keep laughing,
He's
I
cool.
know.
All right, Ed.
And that was the news then.